Hi, I'm Andrew. I'm the designer of the MotoBags, and today we're going to have a look at how to attach the MotoBags to your racks. So first off, we have a web page with all the racks that work and don't work with the MotoBags quick release system. If you own OEM BMW racks, they will fit out of the box. If you have other racks like Touratech racks, a slight adjustment might be needed, but they will fit these racks as well. And all other racks are listed on the website, so go and check those out. The link's in the description below or up in the corner. There's two different types of attachment systems for the MotoBags. There's the flat rack system and the offset system. This is the flat rack system. You'll see the difference because there's no spacer. Let's put it on the bike and have a look. This is the offset MotoBags. The only difference between the offset MotoBags and the flat MotoBags is the spacer here. The spacer is generally used on the 31 litre MotoBag, and the reason for that is so we can even up the motorcycle. And the 31 litre normally fits on the offset rack, and the offset rack is this bent style, generally over the muffler side. Let's have a look and put it on and see how it works. So now imagine you have two flat racks. I'm going to show you how to convert the offset system to a flat rack system. So once you've decided on which parts to move, we're going to need to remove the back plate from the Hyperland bag. To do this, we use tools that are included in the 38 litre. We use a T-Torx 30 and a 10mm. We're going to save some time now and use a power drill, but make sure if you're going to use a power drill, don't over tighten it, and make sure the ratcheting system is low. Remove the MotoBag straps, remove the band and poke them through, and repeat that on the bottom as well. And there you have it, the back plate's removed from the Hyperland bag. The next step is to remove the axle from the spacer. We're going to remove the spacer and then reattach this whole locking mechanism back onto the back plate. To do that, you use the 10mm on the axle and then the T30 underneath. In the factory, we glue these. Anything that has not got a nylock, a nylon nut, needs to have Loctite. Use 243 Loctite, the blue stuff, when you reassemble it. Also take care that behind this axle, between this part and this part, is a small nylon washer. We have a spare in the spare parts bag, but be aware that this may fall out and it's critical for proper function. If it's difficult to remove because of the glue, apply heat with a jet lighter and it will loosen the glue, and then you can remove the bolt. Just apply the heat to the stainless steel, heat it up, and then remove the bolt. Let's remove this axle. There's a 25mm Torx T30. That's the washer. Make sure you use this all the time for proper functionality. So let's put this to the side. The next step is to remove these two bolts. Put them all back just to make sure that we get the right screws in the right places. Just makes it easier later on. So now we can remove the spacer here. Again, on the back, there's 6 bolts. Use the provided Torx key and remove the bolts. Again, I'm going to use a drill. It's just faster. So there you have it. I've removed the spacer. So now I'm going to check which parts need to move again make sure it fits perfectly. At this stage, everything's hitting. This rack bumpers are hitting, and also the hooks need to be adjusted as well. So what I can see here is I need to move these two hooks across to the other two holes, and I need to move these rack bumpers up so it doesn't interfere with the toolbox screws here. First off, again, with a power drill, be very gentle, so just lightly undo them. Let's remove the rack bumpers first. I'm going to put them back into the rack bumper just to make sure I don't lose anything. Okay, now I can do the same with the two hooks. So basically, when you don't have any obstructions, you want to have the hooks as far apart as possible on the two outer sides. So if you have no obstructions on your racks, then you'd want to move this one to the outer side here and try and space them apart. Also with the rack bumpers, they come pre-installed, but you want to move them, if you need to the highest point. So there's plenty of options here, here and here, and also on the other side. Here, here and here. So let's just remove these two hooks or remove this hook and move it across, and remove this hook and move it across. So I'm just going to move them one across and re-screw them. I'm going to do the other one as well. There's no need to over tighten them. So now you can see that the two hooks fit nicely onto the rack and the motor bag is centered. Now we have the rack hooks fitting perfectly. I want to assemble the rack bumpers so it doesn't interfere with my toolbox. As I said before, we want them to be as high as possible. This gives it more stability. So what I'm going to do is, by hand first, I'm going to position them about right, just loosely, to make sure that they fit in the right position. I'll do that to the other side as well. So they're loose on there, so now what I want to do is push them as far out as possible so the curvature on this rack bumper fits the rack, and same on the other side, both sides. So this rack curvature fits the rack curvature on the rack. So to position it correctly, you can pull from the other side, and when it's nice and snug against the rack, you can tighten. Again, be gentle with tightening, and I even recommend using the hand tool for this part. So now we've figured out where all the hooks and rack bumpers go. Now we're going to add the latch. So to add the latch, place the latch onto the back plate, and just for positioning, we're going to put it so it touches the underside of the rack on the top. As you'll see, we can move it around and try and find if holes match up. See here that in this case, we get this hole, and this hole match, so we can use those holes. If your rack doesn't work with the holes, that's no problem. There's also these slots here. Anywhere across this whole area, you can move the latch, and then we just add on a washer to bridge the gap across. So for this example, I'm going to use the slots here. So start with this part here. It's got a latch locking blocker here. Just slip it in. So the round part is on the top. The flat part is on the bottom. On the underside, what we want to do is the pointy corner, there's 4 corners, the pointy corner goes up in this direction, the same as the latch blocker here. So we're going to put this under, behind, and put the screw through. Lightly fasten that screw. For the second hole here, we're going to do the same. And for the final, this is the 25mm. You're going to add some Loctite to this part. You put the nylon washer there. You take the latch, feed it through on the outside. Feed the 25mm through. and tighten it down. So I'm just going to lightly tighten it so it doesn't move around on the back plate. And I'm going to make my final adjustment now. So if we bring it to the bike, we're going to make sure that this part of the latch, the bottom part, touches the underside of the rack. Maybe hard to see now, but I'm actually pulling it up from this side on the back. I'm pulling this back side up so it fits underneath the rack, and I'm going to give it a tighten. I'm just going to come back in the inside here and tighten the other side just to lock it in place. Do that to the center one. And for the final one, we're going to give that another tighten, but by hand. And you're done. So once you're happy with the layout and it fits nice and snug right across the rack, make sure you give it one more lock just to make sure it's nice and snug. And then the next step will be to add back the Hyperland bag onto the back plate. So to attach the MotoBags back plate to the MotoBag Hyperland bag, what we're going to do is we're going to open the bag up and remove the inner board. That's the inner board, just remove it and put it to the side. We'll come back to that later. First part is the top fixing plate. We have two corner fixing plates. This is the position from the inside. So let's attach the MotoBag back plate to this plastic parts. So the first step is to place the back plate onto the Hyperland bag. What we're going to do is the very first step is to put these straps through the bottom like that. Do that twice, and then we're going to add these corner fixing plates on the inside. So as you see on this side there's one in already, but you can place another one, nylock inside. Take two bolts, feed them through and line them up. Just get them into position for a start. No need to lock them down. Do that on the other side as well. Take the corner fixing plate, add in the two nylocks. The next step is to take the top fixing plate, and that goes up the top here. So again, put the nylock in one corner, and we'll start with this corner. The next step is to do the opposite corner, just to line it all up. Now you can do the other holes. There's 12 in total. Make sure that they're all nicely screwed down. Periodically check them for looseness. So now that you've attached the back plate to your Hyperland bag, we're going to install the PE board. Lift up the two flaps on each corner and apply the Velcro. And you're almost done. There's only one more step, and that's to reattach the buckles. So let's roll up the MotoBag and fasten it. And we're going to bring this up and feed the buckle through the back plate. Take the rubber, put it through, and the best way to do this is pull it down and put it underneath the buckle, turn it, and then feed it back over like that. So there's 2 lines here and here. We can do that again on the other side. You can also just leave the rubber band on there, feed it through like that, then take the rubber and feed it underneath, give it a twist and reapply it like that. And that's it. You've readjusted your motor bags to fit either a flat rack, an offset rack, and you're ready to roll. Any questions, reach out to us. We'll be happy to help. If it's really complicated, if you don't want to do it, please go and see a mechanic and they can install it properly for you. Be safe.